Is it recording? There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. And clink and drink to our guests. Ooh, yummy wine. My name is Lola Stardust. I am the hostess with the mostest. And before we start our show, I like to do our little disclaimer. This show is called Witches and Wine, meaning we do partake in wine, and sometimes we get a little tipsy and a little chatty, and it has been brought to our attention just a little bit.
A scotch.
It has been brought to our attention that some people don't appreciate the tipsy talking. So we have a great suggestion. If you're not into that, all you got to do is click on the X in the corner and we'll disappear, and it's like magic. And it's weird how that works out.
See, once again, you have the ability to change your future.
Yes. So before we get started, I'm going to turn this over to my partner in crime, my husband, my high priest, my best friend, my ride or die.
The ride or die. We've all paid the term ride or die, and so we try to use it as often as we can to annoy the other one. It's married.
Yeah. Silent Stardust, why don't you tell us what wine we're drinking this evening?
Oh, well, tonight I've chosen a Washington Cabernet. It's made by, oh my gosh, I just drew a blank on his name, Mark Ryan.
Oh, okay.
And it's a board track racer, the Vincent. Mark Ryan is really into cars and motorcycles, and so all of his wines are based off of some kind of car or motorcycle.
Oh.
This is the Vincent motorcycle. Really berry orientated, big berry notes from here in Washington. Blackberry, black raspberry, black cherry, blueberry. A little bit of tannins, but not overly dry. Going to run you about $30 a bottle. And once again, like most cabs, going to stand up to a nice steak, some beef ribs, stuff like that.
It's very good.
Yes, it is.
I like the non-tannin, low in tannin taste now. Yeah. Does it make it chewy? Is that what it is?
Yes, it is not chewy.
It's not chewy. All right. Well, thank you, sweetie.
Absolutely.
It's a great wine. So let's go ahead and introduce our guest. My husband did the workshop coordinating for the ATC Spring Mysteries Festival that was online just last month. And we reached out to Jason Mankey, wasn't she?
Yes, the awesome Jason Mankey.
We reached out to Jason Mankey. He's always done workshops for us. He was like, I'm going to take some time off, but I know some people that you need to reach out to.
Yep.
This lovely guest, Astrea Taylor, is one of those people. Welcome to the show, Astrea.
Thank you so much. I love your show. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. We're honored to have you.
Yes, we are. And you're like...
We like our authors when they come on because we're book people.
We are book people,
and,
yes.
We'll get into that here in a little bit.
So, Astrea, why don't you tell us a little bit, just kind of do a little introduction, like who you are, what do you have any titles, the High Mucky Muck of the Coven of the Mucky Muck, whatever. Just tell us who you are, what you do. Just quick little introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'm an intuitive pagan witch from Ohio, and I'm mostly solitary, but I've been in a few very loose circles and groups and stuff. And I just recently became the high priestess of my own moon circle. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's just happened, and it's wonderful. Like, anyway, I've been around a lot. I was a 90s witch, and I was raised by a single feminist mom who had all those herbalism books, and she studied witchcraft for a while. And
nice.
Yeah, she got me my first tarot deck at the age of 12 or so. Maybe
awesome.
I don't remember. It's hard to remember back that long time ago.
I can't remember the 90s myself, but that's probably for different reasons.
Yeah, I don't have any official titles, but I just do a lot of stuff. I have a lot of thoughts. I read a lot of books as well. I read all kinds of books, not just witchcraft. I read psychology, science, all kinds of the occult books, and it's like feeding for me. Like I need it. It's a certain kind of like energy I just need to intake.
Yeah. Well, definitely, we are excited to have you on the show. And how did you like doing the workshop that you did for Spring Mysteries? Was this the first time that you were involved with Spring Mysteries?
It was my first time with Spring Mysteries, and I
Yeah.
loved it. Everyone there was so welcoming and nice. And I
Awesome.
just felt like I was included and I was a part of everything. I loved it. I want to go back again, especially
Awesome.
when it's in real life, in real person, you know?
Yes.
Yes, we're hoping
Next year,
next year life will be back to normal, hopefully, or whatever a new normal. I
whatever the new
guess.
normal becomes.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you get to see the whole thing, like the passion play that we put on? Basically, did you get to see that, the story of Demeter and all that?
I came into bits and parts of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was really wonderful. Like I experienced so much and it was amazing. Like everything that everyone put into it. And I was hoping that my ritual would suit it well, like the self-love with Aphrodite,
Mhm.
because it's something that it's just it moved me a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, we did it live with a bunch of people, and you know, I just kind of felt the energy and you know, asked for consent for that, and
Yep.
it worked. And people, you know, let me just stir the energy up a little bit and lift it, and we like you know, dumped our burdens and you know,
Oh,
lifted
that's
ourselves
awesome.
up with her love. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was received very well by everyone that attended.
Yeah.
I got a lot of rave reviews about it. So
Great
Wonderful.
feedback. Really great feedback. Do you work with Aphrodite a lot? Is she one of your main chicks that you work with?
Yeah, she is now, but I evolve a lot. Like I'm really into personal transformation. So, you know, I've had older deities that I don't work with anymore, and I've worked with Aphrodite, I would say about 4 years now. And that particular experience that I had with her that inspired this ritual is probably 2.5 years old. So it is
Oh,
rather recent, but she's very responsive. It's really amazing. I don't know if you work with her or not.
I was going to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a good conversation. So, well, I love her. I really do, but this is really kind of humorous. I work with, I work with so many dark goddesses. So
Mhm.
Hecate, Lilith, Ereshkigal,
all the heavy ones,
all the
super
heavy-
fluffy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but Aphrodite scares me to work with her more than any of the dark goddesses. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I think because she makes you really take a look at the beauty of yourself and your body and your love. And I'm so critical about my body and so many things that I'm so afraid that it's just going to highlight all those critiques. But then I guess she would be perfect to work with to help me get over. I have a lot of body issues and a lot of hangups when it comes to intimacy and sex. And so I know she'd be perfect. I know she would. I'm just afraid to take the step.
Yeah, well, that's valid. And
Yeah.
you know, I feel like this is a topic that actually a lot of people can relate to with the pandemic. And you know, a lot of us have been more inactive and
Mhm.
indulging more. And you know, it's something we can all relate to. But I have to say, Aphrodite loves people no matter what they look like or anything. She
Yeah.
has this unconditional love that is so deep and pure and true. And yeah, it's really striking.
Is there anything that you learned about her or her energy that maybe some of us, because we all know the stereotypical stuff of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and the stories in Greek mythology, she can be a little bratty sometimes and she wants to, but was there anything you came across or your own personal work that kind of surprised you about her?
Well, yeah, she's not just about being, you know, the petite, tight sized body. You
Yeah.
know, she has multiple representations. She has multiple incarnations, I
Mhm.
should say, and you know, her different aspects between love and war. It's just really inspiring to me. And you know, she does go back into some of those more ancient deities, and
Mhm.
she's tied to them. So
Yeah.
everything about her is just really inspiring. It's really cool. So this is a segue, but
Yeah.
Jason Mankey and I are writing a book about the Greek gods, and I think
Yes.
I mentioned it to you, Silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up later, but now that we're here, let's get into it.
Yeah. So he's writing the history about her, and Jason is so good at writing about history and
amazing.
stuff. Like
Mhm.
all of his stuff that he's ever written, I just pick it up instantly, and I know what he's trying to say, and it's all the good, important stuff. So I'm really hyped about that. We kind of split the history and the magical sections. So I'm doing the magical parts about Aphrodite. So the love ritual with Aphrodite is going to be in there. It's going to be adapted to, I think, a single practitioner. We'll see if that gets through the Llewellyn editors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been researching Athena and the Eleusinian mysteries, so that was really nice to go to Spring Mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really wonderful so far, because I
Is-
really feel like there aren't enough pagan books about ancient Greek gods written by
Yeah.
pagans.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. It's a lot of the Greek mythology books and that I've always grown up on or read were always written by
Historians, researchers,
yeah,
not
some
practitioners.
galactic type people, but not from our
The practitioner, the
Yeah.
people trying to put it into daily use or life
Yeah.
practices. And
So I'm excited when that. Do you have an idea when that will come out, or is it still
Yeah, next year in the summertime, we're thinking.
Cool.
awesome? Well,
Yeah.
we will definitely keep our eyes peeled for that. And Jason, we formed a really awesome bond with Jason. He is such a giving person
he's just
and,
awesome.
and generous, and he really loved what we do on Witches and Wine. He supports what the ATC does with its workshops and festivals. So for him to like reach out and
You-
say, hey, here's some people that and it's awesome because we get to meet more awesome people and that connection. So Jason, if you're watching, we love you. Thank you.
We appreciate it. You're connecting us with all sorts of cool people like
Yeah.
like this young lady here.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to talk about your books. Silentness was telling me, why don't you go ahead and
So you're not just one style of writer. You have fiction and nonfiction.
I do.
I was kind of perusing some of your books, your original writing, your original stories, and then your more anthology stuff that you've been working on as you've gotten older, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
The one that I was really intrigued by was your retelling of the Beauty and the Beast story. Which book was that?
That's Beldam Sans Merci.
oh
And
wow.
yeah, well, it has a French title because it was inspired by the Keats poem. And
Okay, yeah.
there's a J.W. Waterhouse painting as well. It looks like this this fairy child girl is just like kind of pulling this knight off of his horse, and he's just mesmerized.
Yeah.
So I was just obsessed with that. I get obsessed with things.
That's
How you write
awesome.
a book.
Yeah.
And my mind kept going like, and then what if this happened, and then this, and then if that's that, then that's that, and then it just kind of like blossoms into this big flower, and it's the story that kind of tells itself, and all I have to do is like get to my computer and just write fast enough, so I can like kind of get it all down onto paper. And I have a lot of inspirations. I have a lot of different themes that I work with. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of pours out of me. But okay, so I have to say, I was writing this book when Trump was running for presidency, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, he's a beast," but he's okay. And I'm like, "No, he's a beast. He's not."
Yeah.
Anyway, and then when he became president, one of my friends posted something that said something like, "You're just going to have to like it. You're just going to have to get used to it and like it." And I was like, no, I'm not. So yeah, I decided that this was going to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling where Beauty kills the Beast because she tries to kill the Beast because she doesn't want to be under someone's thumb.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that.
Yeah.
And
So it's almost a Lilith story then.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Lilith's independence.
Yeah, and doesn't want to be under a man's thumb or someone's thumb.
Or under a man.
She'll move. She'll be under a man for a little while, but then she wants to get back on top.
Likes to be on top. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really fun to write.
I'm looking at your setup here, and I see intuitive witchcraft. Is that one of your? That's one of yours.
Yes.
Would you tell us about into? Because I hear a lot of witches say I'm an intuitive witch. I practice intuitive witchcraft. I know for me, I do intuitive
Readings.
tarot readings. I never go by the book. So, is it kind of the similar kind of way of just going what feels right? Can you explain a little more about that?
Yeah. And that's how I am too. Well, that's how I approach tarot and astrology and my witchcraft is I just do whatever I want to do, whatever feels right. I interpret it intuitively based on how I feel with the energy that's
Mhm.
inside of me and how my energy is reacting to the energy outside of me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like getting in touch with the body and the soul and, all those energies that we feel, like whether it's like mental, physical, spiritual, it's high, low, medium, all these energies. Um, and then using all this information in the witchcraft that we do as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, I have a certain way that I do things, and I think that everyone's kind of free form. We're all,
Mhm.
doing our own thing. But
Yeah.
it's like I kind of devised a basic formula for witchcrafts, so you can write your own spells. And I know like there are a bunch of different ones out there, but I like mine a lot.
Yeah.
But
Well, I hope you
yeah,
do.
and it's one of those things like it's what works, and it combines like our magical intuitive souls, which I think is the most important thing in witchcraft. It's a very personal thing. And
Yes.
the energies that you want to bring in. And I view the correspondence lists as suggestions. For example, like if you don't like the color green for whatever reason, like don't
Yeah.
use it for money, like maybe use something else. And there are always options, but
Yeah.
we create our own correspondences. I call them personal correspondences because I hadn't heard of any other word for those.
I like.
Yeah, and then the magical actions, and you just combine it all, and you raise energy in some intuitive way, and
Yeah.
that's magic. And
Absolutely. And it's such a personal thing. And I always like to remind people because, there's so much information out there. And yes, you've got your basics, you've got your basic stereotypical spells, color association, or, what, like you were saying, green for money, but maybe gold speaks to you, or even purple. I could see purple being money, or abundance. Um, and I know a lot of newer witches have come to me and they've said, I'm so overwhelmed with all the information. And I like to tell them, you got to do what feels right,
Yep.
what speaks to you, because it's always going to be your relationship with deity and with your magic. That is forever. That relationship that you have, you're going to meet other you might even be in different circles with different people, but nobody can take away that personal relationship that you have with your magic and your deities. So I think it's really awesome that you touch upon that, because I think that's really important for especially, and even witches that have been around a long time and who have been doing it kind of the set way, which sometimes in my stubbornness, I'm that way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I've learned
Well,
a lot.
there's value in structure, but there's also value in learning how to get out of your comfort zone, because how do you grow if you're not pushing the boundaries?
Yeah, you have to.
Mhm.
And and you're saying, if it doesn't speak to you, it's okay. It doesn't speak to you.
Yeah.
We all have different theories. That's why there's so many different books out there and different concepts. Go with what speaks to you and identifies with. Where, in books, I'll agree with half of what I'm reading. The other half, I'm like, you know what? I just don't see it that way. But you know
Yeah.
what? Obviously, this person does, and it speaks to them. So their deity is coming through in a way that they can understand and relay, and maybe it will speak to someone else.
Yep.
It doesn't have to speak to me every time for me to appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I don't talk to my dentist and my cat the same way. Deity's not going to talk to all of us the same way.
Yeah.
And I know there's like unverified personal gnosis that's like, oh, it's so bad, like everyone hates it. Not everyone, but some people just really dislike it. But everything was a personal gnosis at one time. And I believe that the gods can evolve, and I'm not really mad whenever someone brings that kind of stuff up, but I do think that it's relevant to them. It's not necessarily for everybody.
No, and that's the thing. I like how you say you believe that the gods evolved.
Yes.
That is not the first time I've heard that. I've heard that many times, and it really resonates with me because they're going to evolve in the way that we evolve and the way that what we're looking for. So I may have worked with Hecate 4 years ago, but I've evolved in the last 4 years. And I would like to think my relationship with her has evolved. So we're going to be on a different level. It's like a friendship. It's like any relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
As she said, she's worked through different deities that she's worked with, because as you're growing as a person, as a witch, your practice is going to grow and your interests are going to change. And, don't get stuck. Well, this was my patron deity, so therefore I can't expand out because this is the person I chose.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that if you're stuck, that means you're not growing. You're not becoming the best form of yourself that you can be.
And our craft is constantly evolving. I mean, if you think about it, and it's almost like, it's so interesting to me to have a very independent, self-sufficient type of religion or craft that, if you go to other religions, they're very, here's the rules you follow, here's the things you do to worship your God. In our craft, it's like, well, again, whatever works for you. And if you get a lot of people that kind of, and what's great is whatever works for you, usually you'll find other people that have that similar relationship. And that's what kind of causes a tradition or, we just work this way best,
Yeah.
I want to talk about your, my mind just went blank. Other deities, you were talking about Aphrodite. What other deities do you enjoy working with that you've had?
I work with Hel. You were talking about dark deities, and I was like, ding, 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 I got one.
Yes.
Yeah, she is like massively dark. She has the energy of like a black hole. I mean, she's very intense. But I also work with Hecate, and Odin has like wanted to work with me recently, so that's really interesting. There's an ancestral link there. It's come about in the past 2 years or so. But Hestia is one of my home deities. I work with her a lot. Oh, you love Hestia too?
I'm a priest of Hestia.
Yes, he is.
I have Hestia all over my kitchen. When we have people in the house, I'm the one running around. Are you okay? Is there anything I can get you?
He is.
Yeah, me and Hestia like this.
I love it. We did a Hestia ritual in our coven, and he got to wear a pretty black apron.
We all put on aprons for our Hestia ritual. Aww. And I got the frilliest, most girly one, and that's what Hestia says. That's the one you're wearing for me. And
it was like,
yes, goddess, I will wear this.
It was like the little black dress of aprons.
Oh,
it was super feminine and sexy. And he put it on, and I've got pictures I'll share with you in private. He looks so good. He looks so good. And I just was I was so proud of him because Hestia is such a, stereotypically feminine, the hearth keeper for women, but he's our hearth keeper. He does the cooking because he's a great cook. And he's very much about the food and making people feel comfortable. And so it made me very proud because he's like my little feminist husband. I love it.
That's wonderful.
So Hestia, who else?
Well, there was Pan back in the day. I think my first deities were Artemis and Caradwen and Brigid. And I didn't even realize at the time, but it was like the ABC, like as basic as you can get.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I have guides as well that I work with, spirits. So yeah, I don't know. It's always like a revolving door. I call in whoever feels right for the ritual, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I also like Kali a lot, the Hindu goddess, and
But
she
that's
just
so much more
she's intense as
destruction and
well.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Destruction and power.
Yeah.
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 Are
Wow.
you familiar with a lot of the Egyptian deities? Because that's something I've been wanting to get into, but I've always been a little weary of it.
Well, a lot of people that we've known that have gone down the Egyptian path get a little cray cray.
Yeah, it's like
Just
that's
to be
all they
honest with
want
you,
to
it's a
do.
little overwhelming at times.
Yeah. I think that's a really intense path. I love
Yes.
Isis or Osset, as she's
Yeah.
also known. But I don't know. I don't do a lot of the other deities, necessarily. I am in awe of them, though. I know that they are powerful. They have it going on. They have stuff figured out. I'm just not really keyed into their energy.
Yeah, doesn't speak to you as much as a practicing purpose.
I think it takes like I said, for me, I have dabbled with Sekhmet,
Mhm.
and that was just for when I was a student at the Wiccan Seminary, that ATC sponsors, and what was great was our sophomore year, we got to choose different deities to work with different chakras. And I chose Sekhmet with the yellow yellow chakra, the will and the sun, and I didn't realize how destructive she is, but then I realized she is the destructive part of the sun, because the sun, yes, it heats us and it warms us, but it also can burn us.
What, and wither and
Yeah, and that's Sekhmet. She's like the destructive. And so I really enjoyed that energy, but that's about as close as I got to working with Egyptian deities. Do you have a particular pantheon that you enjoy, or are you just all over?
I mostly love the Greek, but I do have some Norse ancestry that I've been exploring. I didn't even know that I had it, but I did the ancestry stuff, and then I did like a meditation with Storm Fairy Wolf at the Earth Warriors Festival, and then
wow.
ancestor came through, and it was very intense. And yeah, so that's how that started. Well, hell came to me a long, long time ago, though. When I was, getting deep into witchcraft, and I think that's like the best time. I don't know. It's like you can like approach witchcraft, and it can be like, yeah, I'm like climbing the mountain of learning all the things, and then I'm applying some of the things, and I'm doing stuff, and then you have like this momentous occasion, and it's just like the floor drops out, and you're just like floating in space, and you're like, oh my God, this is what they were talking about. This is everything that prepared me for this moment, but I'm not prepared, but I still love it. And I am, overwhelmed, but I'm also, really into it at the same time.
Well, and that just reminds us that that you can't force what's going to happen. People want to say the control of this is the person I'm looking to work with, so it's only a deity is going to reach out to you if there's an energy or something that you need to be speaking with or connecting with at that time, and don't fight it.
Well, and when you were talking about, you're climbing and then you reach where the floor drops out, it's almost like it's like a drug trip, where you have the build up, and you've got the rise, and then you're just like frying balls or whatever you want to call it, whatever drug. I'm not pro drug, maybe, but like hallucinogens. I'm thinking of hallucinogens, and you get that oh my God. I totally know what you're talking about, because
she does have an Amanita right next to her. So I'm just commenting that I may happen to know what the kind of mushroom that one may be.
I love mushrooms.
We do too, all kinds. The edible food type and the fun ones that take you on a journey. It's okay. This is witches and wine. This is what we talk about. Clink and drink to mushrooms. It's all about that. But witchcraft and magic to me is like a drug.
Yep.
Because coming from a past where I did partake in those type of activities, my husband and I both noticed that when we got deeper and deeper into our craft, we didn't need the hallucinogens and the fun little party drugs that we used to partake in back in our
To break the
20s.
barrier.
We get that spiritual high. And so when you were saying that where the floor drops below you and you're floating in space, that is an amazing feeling where and when you
it's freeing. It's so freeing and just
I think when you pass through that barrier,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like as a witch, you've kind of arrived. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, this is it. And everything is, and then you just see things differently. And right? Is that kind of how it is?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But I feel like, at least on my path, since I'm really into continuously learning and continuously applying, transformation, I find that those moments happen more and more. And, especially since the Grand Conjunction, earlier this year, I've been having more and more of those moments. Like this is kind of silly, but I walked out onto my front porch and I asked the energy there if the mailman had come. And I could see like a track through the energy where he had walked through. And and sure enough, the mail was there.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that just start to happen. And like it's like the world just keeps getting more and more magical. It's really intense. I love it.
I do too. It's like we're in a secret club where we can see things that other people can't see, where we can step out on our back porch and we live in the middle of the city, so nature is about a 20-30 minute drive from us, which is great. But I love that the craft and magic has taught me to just step out my backyard. Yeah, I hear the cars, I hear the neighbors arguing, but I can focus on these two beautiful trees, right? And just I tune everything out, and I feel that magic. I'm talking to them. I'm feeling their energy, their protection, their protection, and it makes me so excited that we get this gift, that we get to experience that and see those things, see where the mailman walked, talk to the guardian tree, even though there's fire engines and children being loud, but I can still like tune in. And so I think it is a gift, and when you get to that point and you're able to do that, it just grows and grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's so magical. Like there's another side of it too, and I think a lot of us experience like this responsibility that comes with it. And I've had to like show up for spirits who are like about to pass on the other side, and I would try to be there, and sometimes I wouldn't make it in time and they would pass without me, or I wouldn't acknowledge the spirit contact, or so I just had one of those today, so it's just on my mind. But
Wow.
hopefully all is well. But yeah,
So you help people? Do you help people cross over?
I have not really
Oh.
done that. I've tried to dissuade someone today from crossing over because I feel like it's not their time yet.
Huh?
I want them to stick around longer. I actually did try to do it one time to some ghosts I saw in a graveyard. They were just running around a tree. There's two little ghosts. And I was like, hey guys, hey, do you know that you can go? There's another side and there's light. And they just laughed at me and just kept running around the tree, and they didn't want to go anywhere.
They were
Like,
they just were hanging out there. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Do you do a lot of, I know Norse, we were talking about your connection with your Norse background. I have Norse ancestry as well. My grandma was a Nordic, my dad's side of the family is German and Norwegian, and so it's interesting, before I ever really connected with that side of my family, that my first goddess I worked with was Frigga.
Wow.
And she just, I loved her energy. And it's funny, I have not worked with her in so long, but I still feel that connection. It's like an old relationship.
Well, and she still has one of the most prominent spots in our house.
Yes, we have this beautiful statuette of her, and she's like right up front and center because she was the first.
Yep.
She was the first. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I love the Nordic path. We have a coven member who he works very much with Nordic, Norse mythology, and there's a lot of ancestor connection with that. Do you find that it's really heavy on the ancestors? Does that help you? Because I'm still trying to work with ancestors. Does that really help you work with ancestry and connecting?
Yeah, I think so. So on my Norse side of the family, I have a relative whose last name was Grice, which is Nordic for gray or pig farmer. Both of them.
Or a great pig farm. I don't
So
know.
it's like it's that area.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I had this beautiful dream that I was helping that ancestor clear out a bunch of garbage from land. I don't know why it was there or what was going on, but I was empowering this giant creature who was like an octopus who was just sorting through the garbage. And there was a lot of like cues. It was multiple dreams of this happening. And eventually, after at least 3 dreams that I remember, the garbage was all washed and bundled and sorted, and it was taken away. And the ancestor said, I'm going to feel a lot better now that this is done. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff we can do with our ancestors. There's dream work, and I feed those ancestors and I commune with them in ritual. So I have an ancestor altar. It's really important, I think, that we take the time to listen to them, because we can heal some of those ancestral wounds, but we have to pay attention.
Yes, absolutely. And I've talked about this with several people who do a lot of ancestor work. And do you think, and I'm going to ask you this because I'm searching for ancestor work. We both come from families that there's not a lot of, is everything okay? Okay. We come from families where we're kind of our dog is going to start making a snorting noise. So if you hear that, that's just our dog. Where there wasn't a whole lot of, how some families are like, oh, gather round. This is your cousin's second cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin. Your great great aunt did this. And we came from families where we didn't hear those stories.
Nope.
I would hear stories about my mother's mother, my grandmother on that side. I knew my grandmother on my dad's side. She died when I was young. And my grandma on my mother's side, who I had the most connection with, she lived in New Mexico, and we would just kind of be pen pals. But other than that, really not close with extended family. It was always and not a lot of stories. Do you think that people like us who would love to work with ancestors can find those ancestors even though we don't know anything about them?
Yeah, that's actually my story on my maternal side as well.
Yeah.
Because my grandpa hardly even knew where we came from.
Okay. Yeah.
And my grandma didn't talk about it, but I think that that's indicative of trauma. And that in Europe there were a lot of not just witch hunts, but there was the Spanish Inquisition. There were other things that happened, where they would just root out the weirdos. And I'm not like a really big believer in hereditary witchcraft, like gifts or anything necessarily. Maybe, I don't know. I don't hold a lot of stock into it. Let's just say that. But I do feel like the fact that we have these feelings means that maybe our ancestors had them as well. And so if they were, weird and they felt prosecuted, then they would not want to stick around. And that's why they came here, to America.
Yeah.
Likely.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. So what would you, because I know a lot of people too that feel the same way. Maybe they were adopted, maybe they have estranged families. What would you suggest to them how to work with their ancestors? Just open up and listen?
I'm really interested in hearing this because backstory for me, My mom's parents died in a car wreck when she was 3. And I barely knew my biological father before he passed.
Yeah.
So I don't know a whole lot of family background the true thing, like my mom's uncle and aunt adopted her,
Yeah.
but it's not the same as her, my mom's direct parents.
So she doesn't
Yeah.
know a lot about, so we don't know a lot of the lineage.
Yeah.
And I know there's people out there that have felt the same way. What would you suggest, if you can? I don't want to put you on the spot, but again, this is just, what would you suggest to get in touch with our ancestors?
Yeah, I've done this work, so I can speak to what I believe would help. Like, I'm sorry that you had that experience, and I don't have a lot of adoption stuff myself. My grandmother did have to become adopted because it was a bad situation in the home. But it's, one of those things. I did an ancestry.com thing, and I searched my ancestors as best as I could. There are lots of different names and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I also did the blood or the saliva test for the DNA,
Yeah.
and that revealed a lot of stuff. I'm actually part Jewish as well. I'm part Ashkenazi Jew, but of course, none of my ancestors have ever spoken about this. None of my family has ever spoken about this. It's something that maybe it must have been buried because it wasn't safe, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. But so what I've done so far is at Samhain, I would open things up. And I have a big Samhain ritual. I love it. It's all by myself. Like, I do one with the group, but I do one by myself as well.
Yeah.
And so I call on my ancestors. Like, I refresh their altar. I dust it off and put new offerings there. I call on their names. And then I call on the ancestors whom I don't know, who are
Okay.
in alignment with me in my gifts and what I want to do, and
Okay.
who support me. I think it's very important to say that, because if you just call in all ancestors, like I did one time, there was this lady who was like, I don't want to be here. And I was like, what message do you have? And I pulled this devil card, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
and then I was like, ha, 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 whatever. And then I pulled it again. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to let you go. I won't call on you again. Bye.
Yeah. Good
Message received.
message.
Yeah.
received
Pulled
loud
a
and
devil
clear.
card twice in a row after she said, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, paying attention to like inviting the ones who support you. Some of
Okay.
them really do want to be there for us, I feel. Like
I
my
do too.
ancient Norse ancestor, he came through, he was trying to cross a river to get to me, to
Oh,
get me a
wow.
message. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and you can do that meditation with Storm. I asked him to do some. I don't know. I'll have to see if he has meditations, on YouTube or something. But it was really powerful.
Well, when this posts, you can actually put that in the chat for people if you can find it between now and then.
Yeah, between now and Thursday, if you can, do that. So when we post, if you're in the live chat, post those links,
When we get to this part of the show.
because obviously this is I feel a strong connection to my ancestors. I just don't know who to call upon, and I don't know enough about them. So I like the idea of saying those who support me.
Yeah.
Come in.
Mm-hmm.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Sorry, that just even saying that just opened up something that might be really workable for me.
Right.
I appreciate that. Thank
It
you.
doesn't even have to be Samhain. I mean, you can do it on another day. It's just when I started.
Well, it was funny because we had a conversation last week about Beltane being the inverse of Samhain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how you can do a lot of Samhain-like practices and rituals on Beltane, and inverse that with Samhain on do more Beltane-like stuff, because they are the balancing acts of each other.
They are, and then that's when the veil is the thinnest, and so we're still in that Beltane energy. So maybe that's what's calling to me, because I really do. I just feel this need to connect with my ancestors, and I ask several guests, this like Don Lewis, and I can't remember who else we talked to about this.
We talked to Sarita about it.
So yes, yeah, and about just connecting with your ancestors, because so many witches do that kind of connection. And it's not that I feel like, well, I got to do it so I can be a real witch. It's a calling.
Well,
It's
and
calling me.
well, and someone that we could all probably reach out to and work with, who's probably the best ancestry witch that we know or practitioner, is Roman Delgado.
Have you heard of Roman Delgado?
Did you get to? Oh, go back and look at your Spring Mystery stuff and do his Santa Muerte 101.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's I
He
can send it to you.
he
Melissa.
he is absolutely amazing, and he does ancestry work and he does ancestral shamanism.
We were the one, and he talks about breaking ancestral curses.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that kind of healing work, because like you were saying, we have trauma
Mhm.
that is connected to some ancestral patterns that keep happening, right?
Yeah. Well, and there are even studies in mice that, if they experience a trauma, 13 generations later, they're babies that have the same gene that's turned on. That's like, oh, I'm
They're aware of it.
scared. I'm scared about this, and they're
Mhm.
like, I don't know, the mice don't know why they're scared of, but whatever it is, like the
Yeah.
the blue circle or whatever,
Yeah.
that shocked the hell out of the other mice 13 generations ago. But
Yeah.
we have that, and so, but it's with energy, and so we can't see what we're reacting to necessarily.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So that's why I feel it's important to connect. This brings up another topic before my God, did the hour already go?
Yeah.
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm just talking to a girlfriend about but that's the point of the show.
That-
We've
that-
succeeded.
That's when I know we have a guest that we can connect with, because it's just a normal chat, and all of a sudden we're like, whoa, look at the clock.
Time went by quick. What I want to add to that is, oh my God, my train of thought. What was I saying?
Words.
Ancestral healing, trauma.
Being able to scale it and get rid of ancestral cursing, and
I got so excited that we were connecting that I completely forgot my train of thought.
I have an idea.
Sure.
The one thing I do when I call forth my ancestors is that one at a time, the ones who support me,
Yeah.
one at a time, I allow them to give me a message, and I also draw a card from the tarot. So it really all comes together and makes sense that way. I just fan the cards out, or I mess them out on the floor, and then just pick the one that feels right,
Yep. The intuition.
the one that's speaking to you.
intuitively.
Yep.
And yeah, it's really powerful, because the messages that I've gotten are just like support. I will say I have received one like wildly inaccurate spirit who was like, I'm your ancestor. Did you know that you were this ancestry? And I was like, I didn't call upon you. You just kind of snuck in my house. And and it turned out that was not true. Like,
we've run into experiences where we've done Ouija work and other things, and you get that trickster energy that wants to come through, and they're like, you know what? I just want to have some fun, and you are going to be my guinea pig for me to try these things out on.
And that I remember what I was going to say.
Do it.
Oh my gosh. So talk about ancestral work, not something I'm familiar with, but I feel a calling, and now that we've talked about it, I'm pretty sure that I can do that type of work. But witches have so many different talents. So like herbal stuff, herbs.
Mhm.
I'm not an herbal witch. He's the herbal witch. And I feel, what do you feel about when people say, because I've actually heard people say that if you're a witch, you need to know about herbs, crystals, tarot. What if it's just not your, right? Oh, thank you. She answered my question.
Yeah.
Because we all,
I just think you have to research whatever you are interested in, and just keep going. Like, become a master in something. Sure, that's a great idea. But you don't have to know everything. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't know anything about candle magic, and that's okay. Like,
that's okay.
They have their own things that work for them, and that's great. If they were interested in it, I would say, sure, go learn it. But you know, you just have to do whatever you feel is right for you, and not everything is on everyone's
No.
path.
No, should it be?
No, and again, I think a lot of beginner, which is because we get all kinds of viewers on our show. We get beginners, we get people who've been doing this forever. So I always want to make sure that we let the people know who are watching that you don't have to be a master of all.
No
Yeah.
one should be. You can't be a master of everything. You find something that speaks to you, and then go down that rabbit hole and find out where you can grow and use it going forward.
I love my crystals. I do my crystals, I do my tarot, and I do dream work. I've been working with dreams even before I knew I was a witch. You know what I mean? Like I've always been, I love, like, I do dream interpretations and dream traveling, and I can find out so much about a person when they have a dream. And I love diving into that. But you put herbs in front of me. I mean, yes, I know what they are to a certain point, but I'm like, I don't know. I know I like lavender. It calms me, you know.
That's my favorite one too.
Lavender? Yeah, I
Yeah.
love lavender. We
I
have
do.
lavender oil diffuser. I'm like, oh, I need to feel calm. Well, I have this lavender oil. I'm calm, you know. But auras are really hard for me. But I have a teenage son who, when he's 17 now, but when he was like 12,
Yep.
remember, he was telling me
He sees colors coming off people.
he sees colors coming off of people. And I'm like, I think you see auras. And I'm like, you didn't get that from me because I'm terrible with auras. To me, everyone either looks like they're bright as sunshine, or there's like negative, there's like
grayness, black.
almost like thunder, lightning bolts going zzz, zzz, like electricity. I really don't see anything else in between. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of us are colorblind to auras. I don't know. It's a thing. Some people don't like crystals at all, or astrology.
Well,
exactly.
right.
hold on. Who doesn't like crystals?
I've never met a witch that doesn't like crystals. Are you a crystal witch?
She has a big old thing of amethyst.
Let me just show you, like, I have some crystals right here. My apophyllite is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
love crystals. I love it. We have them all over our house.
Right.
Pretty much every room in that. Yeah. What is that on your neck, by the way? I was going to ask about that because that's a beautiful brooch
Thank
necklace.
you. It's fluorite. It has like the striations, like the long ones, but then it got cracked because I was doing a fire hula hoop and it just went over it really hard.
So you do a fire hula hoop. I used to be a fire spinner. I used to do poi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm always interested in other people that work the fire arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, it's so amazing. Fire dancing is so wonderful. It's like my favorite art form, even though I'm a writer. Like, it's like evocative. Like, I love nothing more than to play some weird ass music that'll make everyone feel like spooky and shit, and then like come out with some like weird headdresses and
Yes.
like, some.
You're speaking the language.
cues. Yes.
You are speaking our language.
And the greatest thing about fire dancing that you could probably relate to with the poi is that, like, when you light up, the whole world around you disappears, and it's like you're between the worlds.
Oh no! When you're talking about
It's like a bubble,
this is an even stronger bubble than I get when we cast circle, because when you're in that fire, because if you screw up, bad things are going to happen. So you need to be in your bubble and being aware of the boundaries set, because my poi are 4 feet, 6 feet, whatever. So that means I have this much space around me that needs to be completely clear, because anything that's in there, it's going to end badly for everyone involved.
Yeah. You also used to eat fire, didn't you?
Fire breathing and eating.
Fire breathing, yeah. He likes fire.
Yeah.
He's fire. It's so funny. He's an air sign.
Well, can't have fire without oxygen.
But he loves fire. He's like flame, fire.
I'm an air sign too.
What are you?
I'm a Libra.
Okay, you're a Libra. Because I saw the air magic.
Air magic. Yeah, I was gonna ask.
And I too am an air sign. So I was like, which air sign is she?
What's the air magic? Before we go, we're gonna wrap this up. What is that? The air magic?
It's the book that just came out last month with Llewellyn, and it's the second part of the Elements of Witchcraft series, and it's really fun because, Lilith Dorsey started us off with water magic, and she's amazing. She's so deep,
Yeah.
moving and powerful. And then so the format was set by Llewellyn, but I just kind of like filled in the gaps. And it's really hard to get in touch with air because it's invisible. Like everyone else has like, oh, here's a bit of earth, here's a candle fire,
Yeah.
here's
Air
glass
is
of
like,
water. It's
okay.
like, what is it?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is it? But really there's all this other stuff that's like mysterious and hidden about this element, and it really is special. It's so unique and wonderful. And I also have an Aquarius moon in my Jupiter and Gemini, so I have a lot of relationships with air. But yeah, it's like wonderful. There's like this whole hidden realm, and like when they say the veil is thin, it's the veil
Yeah.
between our world and the other world. And that's where the veil hits, is it's within the air. They are saying like the fairies are actually made of congealed air. There's like a historical statement about that.
Yeah.
You're nodding your head.
Yep, I've read that. And
I have not.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
this is interesting. We have to talk
Yeah.
about these.
I'm a fairy. I mean, I've been,
She likes the fae.
oh my God, I have been chasing fairies since I was a little girl. As far back as I can remember. So I love the whole concept of fairy magic and being with the fairies. And also, don't ever underestimate the wrath of a fairy. They can get very vindictive, and yeah. But oh my God, we are oh my God, this
So-
could go on. You rule.
Yep.
Because this has
Thank
been
you so much.
amazing.
So Astrea, how do people get in touch with
Thank you. Yes. Where can we
How can we find you and support you and
Oh,
allow
thank
you to
you.
keep on doing things?
Well, I have a webpage. It's astreataylor.com, and
Okay.
you can find a lot of links there. I also have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, though I'm not on that as often. But
Okay.
I love reaching out to people and connecting with people online. It's really fun. There's
Yeah.
one last thing I'm doing. I'm really excited about. I just learned today actually that I'm going to be doing the Witch with Books Club, and it's the first one ever. And Intuitive Witchcraft was chosen for it, so people voted it in, and
Well,
there's gonna
congratulations.
be like PDFs, and it's mostly on Instagram. You can find links
Yeah.
there on the Witch with Books page, and so it was like a really special thing to happen.
That's awesome. Congratulations. You're
Well,
Thank
being
you.
recognized is always a wonderful feeling, and it validates all the work you've been putting in. So
you are such an awesome guest, Astrea. Thank you so much. I mean, like I said, we could just keep talking and talking. This has been such a great conversation, but a lot of people who watch our show might have ADD and might get bored after 30 minutes. I don't know. not with you.
we think we're pretty amazing, and when we have good guests like you, we can continue talking. But
Yeah,
people do tune out, and
they tune out at some point. So before we go, I just want to let thank you, Astrea. And again, when people are viewing this, they'll be viewing it Thursday at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time. I'll get you the information. And if any of our viewers are interested in what we do, our coven work, our witches and wine, we do weekly classes. If you want to be a guest on our show, then you can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That was crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, Astrea. You are amazing. And remember, everyone, please be sweet and kind to each other and always walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be, and clink and drink.
Salute.
Salute. Bye-bye, everybody.